What's going on, guys? CEO here with another episode of Showdown and something a little new. I think for now on, at least unless in specific episodes, I'm going to actually start doing Battle Factory because it's the same thing as random battles, but more tiered. So here we're up in Ubers, which I've actually gained a little bit more appreciation for since doing Battle Factory. It's pretty fun. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. So here, my opponent's team is pretty threatening. I'm predicting the Darkrai lead because I feel like everyone who gets a Darkrai just wants to put something to sleep right away. So here I believe I'm just trying to analyze who I need the least in this matchup. I know that Latias is going to be very important. Yeah, so I guess Landorus is one I think is the least useful. Or maybe I predicted I led Landorus in case he didn't lead Darkrai so I could get a knockoff off. So yeah, he outspeeds, and I know he's going for a Dark Pulse here, but I need Landorus a little bit more than that. Knockoff, and then Edgequake coverage is nice. I believe I just switched, I believe I just switched into, Arceus Fire here. The only thing that really helps me hit is the Excadrill and maybe the other Arceus, but I'm not really sure. Everything else either takes neutral or not very effective, so I decided, since I had a Groudon anyway, that was pretty useless. I don't really know why I scrolled up there, but I figure he's going to try to set up because every Darkrai I've seen is a setup, so I just go for a T-Wave. And at this point, kind of like with Arceus Fire, I'm just trying to see if Groudon's really worth it. It hits a little bit more because it hits the Zekrom too, with Earthquake pretty nicely. But I just decided to do the damage I can, figure maybe I'll kill it. I end up coming just short. He takes me out too. That's okay. I was mainly doing that for a free switch anyway. If it happened to kill, it would have been nice, but so here I just decided to bring out Gengar and potentially trap something if I want to. It has a pretty nice matchup against Latias and Giratina. And if I get either of those, I figure my opponent will probably just switch right away, and that's a free Shadow Ball if I want it. I'm gonna cut to when he actually makes a move, though. Okay, and it ended up being an Arceus Ground, so my Arceus Fire was even more useless than I thought it was. So here I don't really want him Swords Dancing on me. In hindsight, I actually shouldn't have Mega Evolved here because then I would have kept Levitate, and that was a little more useful of an ability for me at the time. Because now I'm basically forced to Destiny Bond if I want to kill this thing because I'm weak to it now. If I would have stayed regular Gengar, he would have outsped, but he also wouldn't have really been able to touch me, I think. So I think that would have been alright. So I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm faster, but I know I can't one-shot him with Sludge Wave or Focus Blast, and he's just going to try to attack, so I'm just going to go for a Destiny Bond. He takes me out, I take him out too. Not the best exchange in the world. I kind of would have liked to take out something stronger, but I don't know, it's okay. It is a little annoying that I had 3 Mons that were completely immune to it. So I guess in hindsight I should have probably just tried to switch out into one of those, but after I got the Swords Dance up, I wasn't really trying to mess with it. So here I am pretty damn sure that this Latias has a Soul Dew, which just makes Latios and Latias like really good. So I'm debating switching out here, but just decided to go for the knockoff. I guess I'll cut again. Alright, yeah, so I get the knockoff off and he just goes for a side shock. Not the end of the world. This Landers is useful, but it's not, like, necessary for me to win. So, taking the damage on it's not super bad. Then I just stay in and go for a knockoff. So at this point I know my own Latias is going to be able to come in and do a decent amount of work if I can play it right. Landers is actually still pretty useful too, because it's kind of forcing him to go out into Giratina here, because he can't really take that damage, but he also can't really take a knockoff super well, so basically anything he switches into here is going to get hit, and unfortunately he has the one counter to that statement in a Balloon Excadrill. So, do I switch out here? I don't remember. Well, while I'm trying to remember what I do, let me know in the comments. Okay, I just do go for a knockoff. I probably should have switched out there now that I'm looking at it in hindsight, because the Landers put in a little bit more work than that. I probably should have just sacked the Sleeping Arceus Fire now that I'm looking at it. That's okay. So now I've put myself into a little bit more difficult of a situation. I'm pretty sure I just cut off my thought, but that's okay. So I just go in and Rayquaza. Now that the balloon's gone, I know I'm at least able to get off an Earthquake. I'm contemplating going for a Swords Dance for a minute, but I just decided to do the damage and kill this thing. I haven't played a Uber, so I don't know if Earthquake is a common coverage move for Rayquaza, but I didn't personally know that he got it, so I'm hoping he doesn't either, and I'm guessing he doesn't because, well, I mean, maybe he just wanted to sack, I guess, because looking at his team, nothing really wants to switch into a Rayquaza here. And here I'm thinking about going for an Earthquake, but I know Zekrom's pretty bulky, so I don't think he's actually gonna get one-shotted from it, so on the off chance that he's Life Orbed, I want him to take a little bit more damage first. And here he just ends up locking himself into Outrage, which is understandable, but okay. Gets the 2-turn Confusion, which is pretty nice, because here I kind of assume he's going to switch out, and now I'm just going to drop a Draco, because there's no reason not to. Either Zekrom or Giratina will take super effective, and I outspeed both. Or, I guess I don't outspeed both, so I guess it's lucky that he got the 2-turn Confusion and hit himself. So now Giratina comes in, and it's guaranteed to hit me for super effective, like pretty much no matter what it goes for. Even if it's a defensive stat, it's going to do a lot of damage, so I just decided to sack Rayquaza here. Do the damage I can, and I just go for a full... Do I go for Swords Dance? I should just go for a Dragon Ascent. I guess I figure he doesn't have anything to hit me in one shot, but that was pretty dumb of me. I should have just gone for a Dragon Ascent and did the damage I could, and guaranteed a kill with Latias. So instead, I risk losing this game here. It ends up not mattering, but I risked that game a lot more than I should have, so I turned what could have been a pretty easy, like, 3-0-ish win into a 1-0 narrow win. But I'm still pretty happy with that game. So here we have another Uber's team. I don't like fighting Ho-Ohs. I love having Ho-Oh, but I do not like fighting Ho-Ohs because they're so ridiculously bulky. So here I'm just trying to figure out what I can even do against this team, because it looks pretty scary, especially if that's a speed boost Blaziken, which I don't know why it wouldn't be. My team looks more bulky, I guess, than... No, he forfeited anyway. we're back. So I believe this is NU, mixture of NU and PU, maybe. So I'm actually feeling pretty comfortable in this battle because this is more of where I battle. I like my team so far. It's nice to be able to use Perugly. I actually really like Perugly. And that Sawsbuck basically completely walls that Tangela and hits Golem, Articuno, and Dodrio for pretty good damage. So I just decided to lead Perugly because I figure I can hit something pretty hard. And he actually leads Tangela, which I'm kind of surprised about. I expected him to lead Golem, or maybe even Articuno. But leading Tangela just leads me to go straight for knockoff. Unfortunately, it puts me to sleep, so the mod I was really excited about using is now kind of useless for now, but that's okay. It's more important to me to get the knockoff off. I could have easily just switched into Roselia and not taken the sleep powder at all, but I really wanted that Eviolite gone, because that takes a lot of his offensive pressure out. And even though he has Articuno and Dodrio, which aren't going to be affected by it, I decided to just go for Toxic Spikes. It'll break the sturdy on Golem, at least, and make that a lot easier to kill. Tangle will get worn down. Fracture, sorry, I forgot its name. I was like, it's not Axios, not Haxorus. Fracture will be a little bit easier to take down too. So there, I know something has to die to a Brayford because Dodrio has insane attack, actually. And I'm actually in a pretty bad spot here because I realized that the only thing that I could really, like, nothing on my team outspeeds this Dodrio, and a lot's pretty weak to it. So luckily he just switches out because I don't have anything for that Dodrio. I'm not going to have anything for that Dodrio by the looks of it, but I don't want to deal with it right now anyway. So yeah, he hits Focus Blast, does decent damage, and here I just decided to go for Stealth Rocks because even if Articuno has Defog, it's going to have to take 50% on switch in. So here he gets his Golem in for basically free, I guess. He gets poisoned, but he doesn't take the couple percent of Stealth Rocks damage. So here I have a couple of options to switch into. In hindsight, Roselia is probably better switch. No, he forfeited anyway. Alright, and we're back. It's kind of interesting trying to record over this because I have a lot of recordings for people just like straight up left and not like late into the battle, but like right in the middle of it. So here we have a Mega Banette, Choice Specs Magneton, which I'm pretty excited about. I like Magneton a lot. It hits a lot harder than people expect. A nice Sigilif, a good lead Almastar, or at least a Focus Sash one with Stealth Rocks. Drapion, who's always cool. And the Intimidate, bulky hit on top. So looking at his team, I have to play pretty carefully around that Doug trio because it traps Magneton, it traps Almastar, and it traps Drapion for super effective. Okay, and we're back, sorry. So it looks like we're back in Ubers again. There was like 15 minutes in between this and the last battle of just people like wasting my time and leaving after a turn. But this time at least I have Mega Mawile, and as I learned in this play session, Mega Mawile is disgustingly good. So I'm actually really liking this team. I decided to lead with the Choice Scarf Genesect because I figure nothing's gonna outspeed and I can just U-turn. But he ends up leading with Shaman Sky, and here he technically outspeeds me, but because I have a Scarf, I outspeed him. I think I would predict that he stays in and goes for an attack here, because he thinks he outspeeds, unless he doesn't have anything that can one-shot, I guess. But he switches out into Blissey, which is a good play on his part. No reason for me to stay in against the Blissey, like, whatsoever. At least I hide the fact that I'm Scarfed for later, I guess. I don't remember if that actually ends up making a difference, but at least I didn't have to reveal it turn 1 after all. So here I just switch into T-Tar because I figure I can get sand damage and I can go for a low kick. I can also get rocks up, which I guess I'm gonna do here. I guess it was because I didn't really care if his Latios came in and went for a defog, but I probably should have just went for a low kick first. Got the damage that I needed to get off. So T-Tar being toxic isn't the end of the world, I guess. But since this Blissey is probably just going to heal up here, I predicted a soft boiled, but Wish Protect is basically the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and get my Mawile in. I'm predicting he's actually going to pass it into something, but he ends up just staying in, which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world. So I just get my Mega Evolution off as he goes for an Ice Beam that does absolutely nothing. I guess looking at my team, it was a good play because he could have hit Rayquaza for quad, hit Rayquaza for quad effective, and Yveltal and Latios for super effective. So slow baton pass was a nice play, I guess. I was predicting a switch, but just taking the damage was also fine. So since he's just pretty content on just staying in here and doing whatever he wants, I'm gonna roar him out and at least force him to come back in and take rocks or something. So here I am very excited to see that it's not Primal Kyogre. Primal Kyogre would have done a ton of damage to this team. So here I'm just looking at special defense and seeing who can take a hit, and then I remembered that Latios can take a hit. It may not take it super well, but it can take a hit. Go into Latios. Just go into it. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So I go into Latios and end up actually taking that water spout pretty well, seeing as how Kyogre is pretty much at full health and in the rain. So seeing as how my team actually has no answers to this, I just decide to go for a Draco and do as much damage as I can. Luckily he goes for water spout again, which does significantly less damage. Water spout's based on how much health you have, so the fact that I was able to do that damage right before he attacked ended up kind of saving me. So here I do the math and realize that he's actually like just in range, I think, to die from a second Draco Meteor, even after the drop. I'm thinking he's going to predict me to switch out, so he's going to go into something that can take it, like a Blissey. Never mind, I guess he saw me staying in or something. So here I have an interesting dilemma because I want to keep the Latios. I'm thinking about going... Sorry, I had to cut there for a second. So I was thinking about just using Healing Wish on Latios on that last turn, but I ended up switching into Mega Mawile, who took an Ice Beam really well. And for some reason I decided to stay in when I used Play Rough, so I instantly killed Blissey, pretty much. And then his switch into Kyogre didn't really work very well either. So now that I'm in a position to do damage, I'm just looking at what's going to hurt his team the most and decided to go for a Play Rough in case he decides to switch into Latios. Sorry about that cut, by the way, back there. My recording software likes to kind of just stop recording every once in a while. I don't really know why. So here he's switching into Shaman Sky, which I don't really get. Like, I don't think Shaman Sky is that bulky, and I don't really think that it could have taken, like, I would have switched into Deoxys Defense if I saw an attack coming, I guess. I don't really know. So here I realize I'm actually in a pretty good position. I don't really want my Mawile taking damage, but it still hits two things on this team super effective. So I just decided to go into Rayquaza because I know I can resist a Judgment. I think a Judgment would have actually killed Mawile, and if not killed it, would have done a ton of damage. So there I just go for the Dragon Ascent and try to do the damage I can. It ends up being a 1-for-1, but that's okay. I didn't really need Rayquaza anyway. It's kind of there. Yeah, so I end up switching into Mawile because it still puts pressure on his team, and he ends up switching into the one thing that it's still like super effective against. So I'm like, cool, that's a free Play Rough. I figure he's gonna sack Blissey here, but instead he just goes for a Drago, so I think that's him giving up the game. And it's either him giving up the game or not looking and seeing that I'm a fairy type, which is a fairly big oversight on his part if that's what it was. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was just kind of giving up the game at this point. And then he goes for a skill swap here. Having my attack by getting rid of my huge power. I figure I can still do decent damage anyway though, so I just decided to stay in case he goes for a Seismic Toss or something. Seeing that he's just gonna go for spikes over and over again though, I just decided to switch into Beltal. He takes no damage from that and is able to Dark Pulse away everything. Yep. So that's the end of that game. I'll try to find one more because this is only a 2-battle live so far, I think. Alright, and here we are down in PU, which is actually pretty exciting to me. I'm really hoping that this guy stays because the past couple battles I've had in lower tier stuff, people have just left. Sorry, my throat's really messed up today for some reason. So I'm looking through my team and I actually really like it. Vigoroth is being suspect tested, I think. So the fact that I'm actually getting him in a PU battle is pretty cool. I don't see the point of Life Orb Murkrow because it's not like it's gonna hit hard anyway, but that's about the only complaint I have with this team. So here I start with Avalugg because it puts a... I'm actually not really sure why I started with Avalugg looking at his team. To be perfectly honest, like I wish I had some cool explanation, but I guess it hits Pelipper. Oh, it hit Gabite pretty well. I'm not used to these middle evolutions. So here I'm a little behind, but I end up switching to Altaria because it's the easiest to resist this Rapidash. I have Natural Cure to get rid of the burn, and I'm able to tank a Flare Blitz fairly well. Seeing as how nothing else on my team could have taken on that Rapidash. I'm willing to lose Altaria for it. So here I'm predicting a Blizzard and trying to see what I can switch into to take it. Because even if I roost, it'll still be 2 times effective. Unfortunately, he just ends up Volt switching. There wasn't really a whole lot I could have done there, because I could have roosted, I guess, and stayed in, but that's all I have to say to that. So here I'm predicting another Willow. I don't want my Tang to be burned because it can do a decent amount of damage still, so I just go right back into Altaria. So it's basically like I was in the same situation, which is why I didn't really have anything to comment on. So there I actually barely live a foul play, and I'm able to get a roost off, and I figure I can just roost stall it out. Unfortunately he has taunt, so I can't. So looking at his team, I still don't want anything to take a Willow. I thought he was just going to Willow there in case I decided to switch out, but I just went for a Draco, do the damage I can, die to burn and recoil and stuff, and then get a free switch. So here I'm like absolutely convinced that he's gonna switch out for some reason and just like instantly click Pursuit. I don't really know why he stayed in to burn a Murkrow. It ended up working out for him, I guess, but I don't really think that Murkrow has enough attack to really be like an attacking mon. I've only really seen it useful as a Prankster T-Wave user, and I mean I can still do that even when I'm burned. I don't know, I was just like absolutely convinced that he was going to switch out into Rotom Frost because there was no reason for him not to, in my opinion. But instead he just goes into Pelipper. Which unfortunately I don't actually really have very much for. My only answer is just to be able to set up a Vigoroth on him and try to do the work that I can. I really wish that I had like a Toxic or something on some of these mons, but I just decided to go for a T-Wave instead. Kind of lame for me to be hoping on Parahacks, I guess, but I figure at least being able to outspeed will help. I definitely needed to get damage on it before I can come into Vigoroth, I think, but I don't know what I was thinking, because there I see the Metang has Toxic. I don't know why I didn't see that when I was scrolling over the movesets, because a Toxic on Pelipper would have been a lot better than Para. So lesson to future self, and I guess the viewers of this video, make sure you're paying attention to the movesets that your Pokemon have, because Toxicking a Pelipper is a lot better than paralyzing it, because Pelipers are stupid bulky. Realizing the error of my ways, I just go for a very useless Meteor Mash. I don't know why. I think I'm just trying to sack this thing and get a clean switch. Or am I just playing horribly right now? Because the only way this move makes sense is if I'm trying to get a clean switch into something. And I'm just like contemplating my options here. Okay. So, I'm just gonna force him to defog over and over again, I guess. It's not exactly the most exciting. Oh, I guess I'm just gonna try to do a little bit of damage. Never mind. So there I get a pretty useless Paralyze. And I just try to get my Stealth Rocks off one more time. He goes for a defog like I expected. Metang dies to a burn, and I get a clean switch. I could have played this Pelipper much better. But I just didn't. So here I go for a sub, because I figure I can at least take one, and he gets a much more important pair. Getting a free sub up against this thing guarantees that I get a bulk up, and guarantees that he's going to do some damage, and then he gets paralyzed again, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I know it's 25% chance, but to get it for 3 straight turns. And then he gets the Scald and it doesn't even break the sub, so now I'm in a very good spot. It's still a 3-hit KO, as I find out, and he gets paralyzed again. So that's 3 times in 4 turns where it very, very, very much mattered. That one, I don't really know if it mattered as much. I guess I got to keep my sub up, so... And then he turns and it still doesn't break it. First of all, I didn't even know Pelipper got U-turn, but the fact that he got U-turn and through Scald and U-turn, I think the 2.5 special defense actually really helps there. So here I'm just completely not thinking, and I'm like, well, I know you're gonna go for a Boom Burst, but I can just sub up again. Completely forgetting that cell-based moves go through sub. It was something I realized as I clicked sub. I was like, wait, I'm not gonna be able to do this. So all of that setup basically didn't matter. I'm a little annoyed, but that's okay. I shouldn't have been able to set up anyway because I got stupidly lucky with paralyzations. Surprisingly, Avalug's able to live a Boom Burst. I didn't think it was going to be able to, and the Avalanche is more than enough to kill the thing. So I'm still technically in a position where I can win, but not really, just because I didn't Toxic the Pelipper. If I would have Toxic the Pelipper, I could have not had to rely on so much para-hacks to set up, and could have set up after Chatot was gone. So here I'm just taking the damage that I need to take, and losing this battle, unfortunately. I don't really like ending. I don't really like ending my lives on a loss. So let's try to find one more. And back to Ubers, I guess. Oh, and something I apparently forgot to talk about until halfway into my recording. Let me know if you guys like the sound quality in this episode a little bit better. Oops. Alright, we're back with the last battle here. Looks like we're back at Ubers again. Shaman Sky, another Arceus Fire. Kind of unfortunate. I don't really care for Arceus Fire that much. I do like me some Mawile. Aegis Slash is someone who I like, but I haven't really gotten to use very much because it kind of got pushed up to Ubers before I started actually playing. And then T-Tar is offensive Giratina. So here I'm just trying to figure out how to lead, and I don't really have a good lead in this battle. So I end up just leading T-Tar just because I figured that can pretty much... I can at least get up rocks and potentially Pursuit Trap something if he leads with Deoxys or Latias. So he sees the rocks coming, but I know he's going straight for the Pursuit, and after Sand, that'll take him out. Pretty proud of that, because that's the first time I've ever, successfully Pursuit Trapped something. I didn't actually know that I was going to take him out, but that's okay. So here I'm just going to switch into Arceus Fire. No reason not to. If you went for Judgment, it would have been resisted, and I could have just hit a bunch of Judgment on my own. Instead makes a pretty nice play considering my team. I guess I could have switched into Giratina and that wouldn't have really done anything, or I could have switched into Shaman and that really wouldn't have done anything, but... So seeing that Arceus can't do anything, I just decided to call Mind. In hindsight, it would have probably been better to just get damage. But that's okay. I keep that in mind if this is going to happen again. And I figure this thing really can't do anything to Mawile, or Mega Mawile actually. So I decided this is a good opportunity to get my Mega up, because the Mega really threatens his team. I was predicting something like a Draco, not necessarily a Dragon Tail there, but any Dragon type attack works. So here I'm predicting him absolutely to switch out, especially after seeing that I'm a Mega Mole. So I end up using the Baton Pass play a little bit nicer there this time. I could have played roughed and gotten a decent amount of damage off still, but I just decided to BP instead. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last time in Calm Mind instead of just attacking what's in front of me, because I feel like I missed out on some kind of important damage there last time. So basically a repeat of last time. If I would have had the overheat before, I'm pretty sure I could have just stayed in and went for something and killed it, but instead I have to switch out again. Not the end of the world, I don't like making predictions super early, but sometimes you kinda have to. Especially when you know your opponent, it's easier to make early predictions, but otherwise you kinda just have to scout for what they're doing. And here I guess he sees that Yveltal's not going to really do anything and just sacks it off. I personally would have probably sacked off Giratina, because I don't really think Giratina did much. I mean, I guess I could Shadow Sneak, but I think Yveltal would have done more later in the game. Well, maybe not, I guess, looking at my team. So I don't want to take an Earthquake, so I end up switching into Shaman like I should have the first time. And since I'm just going to hit something kind of hard here, I just go for an Air Slash. It doesn't really do much damage, but that's okay. So here I don't think he knows I have the Earth Power, so I'm just going to go for it. Gyro Ball doesn't end up doing as much as I expected it to, so I know he's really, really slow if he's running Gyro Ball. So here I'm just trying to contemplate if I want to do damage or Healing Wish up, so I just decided to, because I've never really used Healing Wish before. And I was kind of hoping he could stay in so I could heal up Arceus Fire more. But the 20% on Mawile will be nice, I guess. I didn't really have a need for Shaman anymore. Now I can just fire off a Play Rough, and it's going to do damage to something. Unfortunately, it's not going to do enough damage to kill here. So I predict him to stay in and attack me somehow and just go for the Sucker Punch and take him out. And from here, I'm feeling pretty good. I lost my direct counter to this by Healing Wish, but seeing as how Mawile still puts in work, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it. I could have actually stayed in on that very easily, but that's okay. So here I think I'm debating between Draco and Dragon Tail. If he's gonna switch, a Dragon Tail makes more sense. Oh, I just go Shadow Sneak? Okay. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think a Draco Meteor would have been a better play there. Shadow Sneak ends up working out, and he forfeits, I guess. I probably would have too, because I don't think there was any way he could have come back from that. There's just so many like awkward ending points, but I guess I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. So thank you guys very much, and I'll see you next time.